From Neural Newscast, this is Stereo Current, sound, culture, and the systems that shape them.
Stereo.
The needle drops, the static clears, and the downtown air feels just a little bit more poetic today.
You are listening to Stereo Current, Sloan, your daily briefing from the heart of the scene. It is May 17th, 2026, and the record bins are practically vibrating with new stories.
It is a heavy week for narratives. We are moving from Hollywood urban legends to digital angels of death. Our curation lens today is focused on the mythic and how artists are building entire worlds out of the debris of our culture.
Spoken like a true critic. But we have to start with the master of the indie rock footnote himself, John Darnielle. The Mountain Goats just announced their 24th album.
24 records. I suppose when you have that much to say, Julian, you never really stop. The new LP is called Days, coming in August, and Spin just gave us the first taste with a single that only Darnielle could write. Charlie Sheen reaches out to the feds.
It is such a specific, bizarre slice of 90s lore. Apparently, Sheen watched a Japanese horror flick called Guinea Pig 2 back in 91, thought it was a snuff film, and actually called the FBI. John is writing from that paranoid perspective.
It is brilliant because it turns a tabloid joke into a meditation on what Darnielle calls the accumulation of days. He is looking at the 70s, 80s, and 90s as this emotional debris we all carry. Even if the track is in a major key, he warns there is nothing on the other side of that bridge.
Classic Mountain Goats. If it sounds happy, check the fine print. Speaking of legacy acts finding new ways to hurt us, Spencer Krug has a new solo album, Same Fangs, which just dropped on the 15th via his own label, pronounced Krug.
Under the Radar premiered the centerpiece, Hasn't It Always? And it feels like the perfect companion to his work in Wolf Parade and Sunset Rubdown, but with a more domestic, interior turn. Piano, steady drums, and these gorgeous strings by Maria Grigorieva.
Sloan, it is that middle-age restlessness. He's reconciling past dreams with a quiet life while existing in an industry that basically worships youth. It ends with a literal record scratch, offering no easy resolution.
That is Spencer. He knows that the malaise of summer's end is just a cycle. He is finding peace in the repetition, which feels like a very downtown sentiment.
While Spencer is settling into the quiet, Sydney artist Liliana de la Rosa is setting the clean girl aesthetic on fire. Her new single, Glass Skin, is a dark pop reckoning that A&R Factory is absolutely raving about.
I love the way she uses that term, glass skin. It's not about beauty. It's about the glass ceiling. She is critiquing patriarchal capitalism and how women are expected to be as diaphanous and poreless as the barriers that limit them.
It has that cinematic grace of Ethel Cain or Banks, but with a ritualistic force all her own. It is part of a two-part visual narrative with a follow-up called Blood Red Pearl on the way.
She is pulling from her background in film and theater, and it shows. It is high fashion rage, Julian. It is the kind of divine femininity you cannot package and sell at a premium.
If Liliana's bringing the rage, London composer United States is bringing the mourning. Peter Farr, the man behind the project, just released Where I Fall, You Will Rise from his album Observers 2.
United States feels like music for candlelit ruins or an abandoned chapel. A&R Factory called it medieval mourning. It is contemporary classical with a dark progressive rock undercurrent.
Peter is a sound designer at heart, so the visual gravity here is massive. You can practically see the fractured battlefields and memory myth spaces he is conjuring with those quivering strings.
It is lore building in its purest form. And speaking of building lore from the ground up, we have to talk about AZVL. This is something truly strange and futuristic, Julian.
You are talking about the album 8. This is an AI-assisted project by a producer named MOIK out of LA. He is using the voice of AZVL, a female angel of death, inspired by the Santa Muerte Azul tradition.
It is a cinematic concept album with industrial rock, deep dubstep, and reggae fusion. MOIK actually worked in death care for a year, transporting the deceased, and he is funneling that firsthand experience with grief into this mythic figure.
Sleeping Bag Studios is calling it a landmark in AI-assisted music. The realism of the voice is supposedly incredible. It is death presented as a guide and a witness, not something to fear. 8 songs in English, 8 in Spanish.
It is a bold intersection of technology and spirituality. It reminds me of the vulnerability Mary Knoblock is exploring on her new album, Peach, though the sonic palette is worlds apart.
Mary's based in Portland, and Peach is this intimate diary blending neoclassical piano and dream pop. Obscure Sound pointed out the late-night carnival vibe on tracks like Metal Neon Sky.
It's that rainy day pop sound, Julian. Heartfelt strings and trickling keys. She can do minimalist, slow-burn percussion on the title track and then pivot to twangy guitars and chilly strings on I Knew You.
It is atmospheric honesty. Very different from the bruised confidence of the bands we are tracking in the UK right now. Sloan, have you heard the debut from Deadwells?
The Macclesfield Crew. Their single Stain just dropped with a video that Jammerzine described as getting shoved into a wall at a basement venue while an amp catches fire.
That is the energy I live for. It is gritty post-punk and gravelly shoegaze. Ollie Meller's vocals sound like they were dragged through gravel. And the lyrics deal with mortality and that flash of headlights during youthful recklessness.
There are shades of the murder capital and drench in there. It's volatile. And honestly, it fits right in with the new Abysmal single, Strange Invitations, which came out yesterday.
The Abysmals are gearing up for their second album, No Pretty Face. This is pure garage rock and indie rock spirit. It's that raw, unpolished energy that makes you want to hang out in a record store basement for 4 hours.
I am getting a bit of that same frantic energy from brother Derek's new EP, Bootlickers Unite, which also dropped on the 16th. Derek Wu is a classically trained cellist who turned into a noise pop lifer.
This EP is fascinating because it is a horn-infused affair. He is taking collective exhaustion and turning it into something catchy. Stupid as Me is essentially a rewrite of The Impossible Dream for people who realize the people in power are just as clueless as we are.
He calls it a panicky but hopefully fun reaction to appalling times. I love the track Lost All Subtlety. It uses Chinese lyrics that translate to I love and miss you, why don't you love me back? And frames it as a geopolitical plea between countries.
It is clever, Sloan. He is leaning into the clutter and the sarcasm. He even uses a pink geometric symbol on his shirts that is just a random childhood doodle. It is irreverent in the best way.
It is that Midwestern pop rock gusto mixed with post-punk nerves. Between Derek's brass blasts and Deadwell's distortion, there is a real sense of artists just refusing to be respectable for the sake of it.
And that is the scene in a nutshell right now. Whether it's John Darnielle digging through the FBI's archives or Moik building an AI Reaper, the common thread is a refusal to let the quiet moments go by without a fight.
A poetic struggle against the static. I think we have mapped the coordinates for today, Julian.
I agree. It is time to head back into the stacks.
All right, it is time to round out the hour with our 10 essential listens for your week.
Kicking things off at number 1, we have The Mountain Goats with Clean. It is classic John Darnielle narrative work, full of that paranoid lore we have been digging into lately.
At number 2, veteran indie experimenter Spencer Krug returns with Hasn't It Always. It is a beautifully ruminative chamber pop piece that really anchors our focus on veteran artists this week.
Moving into darker territory, Liliana de la Rosa gives us Glass Skin at number 3. It is a sharp, industrial-tinged critique of the clean girl aesthetic.
Number 4 is 8 by AZVL. This standout from the MOIT-produced project explores digital mysticism through AI-assisted composition, and it is absolutely fascinating.
For your post-punk fix, number 5 is Brother Derek with Bootlicker's Untitled. This track features a heavy horn section and captures that DIY resistance perfectly.
At 6, we shift gears to I United States and the track Where I Fall, You Will Rise. It is a haunting, medieval-tinged contemporary classical piece that offers a great atmospheric counterpoint.
7 is the powerhouse Florence and the Machine with King. It really highlights Florence Welch as a dramatic force while dismantling traditional beauty standards.
Number 8 takes a softer turn. Mary Knoblock brings us Peach, a vulnerable, diary-like slice of dream pop from the DIY scene.
Getting loud at number 9, we have the Abysmals with Strange Invitations. It is a crushing garage rock revival track that is heavy on the grit and distortion.
And finally, at number 10, Dead Wells brings the energy with Stain. It is high energy, chaotic, and captures that mirror-cracking intensity we discussed in the headlines.
And with that stack on your queue, we are headed out for the day.
That is our roundup for May 17th. For the full briefing and more, visit stereocurrent.neuralnewscast.com.
Keep it analog, keep it strange, and we will see you tomorrow, Sloan.
Neural Newscast is AI-assisted, human-reviewed. View our AI transparency policy at neuralnewscast.com.
This has been Stereo Current on Neural Newscast. Sound, culture, and the systems that shape them.